Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Minnesota Mike back with you for another video. This is another live one, and I'm coming to you live from beautiful Coralville, Iowa. Trying to get the lighting figured out a little bit better. Hopefully, we can get some stuff up in here, some more lights. So I apologize if it's a little bit dark in here. But we're just going to kind of do what we can and figure it out from there. Yeah, so I'm on my way back. There we go, a little bit brighter on YouTube there. I'm on my way back to Minnesota, but definitely wanted to do a live stream tonight. And today, first of all, happy Juneteenth, I should say. Happy Juneteenth. There is a lot going on today, but nothing more important than celebrating Juneteenth when the slaves got freed officially. And that is a super important day. I hope that it becomes a federal holiday. There's a petition going around. Please do sign that. I don't know if it'll help, but it's certainly worth a try in that regard. Today is also Nick Drake's birthday, or would have been Nick Drake's 72nd birthday. And so we're going to be playing, I'm going to be playing some of his songs and some of my songs that were inspired by his. And then I've got some other kind of bonus songs that have to do with Nick Drake as well. And so this is the Way to Blue Livestream. Now, I was talking to my mom the other day, and she was saying that I should, she said coming to you live from Coralville, Iowa, and that's exactly where what we're doing now. And so I thought, this would be a perfect opportunity to play Phil in the City, because that's exactly what this is, what that was designed for. I wrote this song when I was biking through Ireland with my family about 2 or 3 years ago, and thought, what would Wagon Wheel be like if the only point to it was to name drop cities that you'd never been to before. And so this is Phil in the City. We're going to start off a little bit light, and I hope you enjoy this. Heading down south, cause it fits this ditty. On my way to name drop a few cities. Got a loosely based story that you think is about my life. Heading down to Memphis on Beale Street. Gonna stay at the Vista Inn and Suites. Now I'm praying to God that I don't see headlights. Never heard of Pat and Garrett, but that's okay. Gonna sing about some cities, the most cliched. It's good to be in Phil in the City. I'm gonna be here tonight, tomorrow I'll be out the door. Stop me if you've heard this one before. It's good to be in Phil in the City. Ran out of gas just south of New Orleans. A gypsy siphoned it just as the light turned green. So I stuck out my thumb and I made my way to the shoulder. A guy picked me up, said, where you wanna land? I said, anywhere but Louisiana. He said, son, you look like you came straight out of Boulder. Never heard of Pat and Garrett, but that's okay. Gonna sing about some cities, the most cliched. It's good to be in Phil in the City. Gonna be here tonight, tomorrow I'll be out the door. Stop me if you've heard this one before. It's good to be in Phil in the city. Yeah, our car broke down just near I-22. He said, I've had about enough of you. Get yourself a new ride, get rich or get busted. Got picked up by a trucker without a T from somewhere near Charleston, Tennessee. He'd ripped off Dylan too, so I knew that he could be trusted. Never heard of Pat and Garrett, but that's okay. Gonna sing about some cities, the most cliched. It's good to be in Phil in the city. Gonna be here tonight, tomorrow I'll be out the door. Stop me if you've heard this one before. It's good to be in Phil in the city. It's good to be in Phil in the city. He dropped me in a state just north of him. Land of the free, but not of the slim. He asked if I liked it, and I said, well, kinda. Spent the night in a crappy old microtel. Now I ain't turned off by the thought of hell. And if I die in Raleigh, at least I won't have to live in North Carolina. Never heard of Pat and Garrett, but that's okay. Gonna sing about some cities, the most cliched. It's good to be in Phil in the city. Gonna be here tonight, tomorrow I'll be out the door. Stop me if you've heard this one before. It's good to be in Phil in the city. It's good to be in Phil in the city. All right, and that was Phil in the City. That was my answer to Wagon Wheel, and I love playing that song. It's great because I played it at Ernestine and Hazel's, and this guy was in the audience, and he said, man, he goes, I'm actually from Raleigh, North Carolina. And he said, I hate that song. And everybody just assumes that we like it because it mentions Raleigh. And he goes, man, I hate that. I hate that song. And so I'm glad that it, resonates with people. But the funny thing is that I was playing that, like I said, shortly after getting back from Ireland and having written it and all of that. So I was playing it. And my dad, stops after I'm done, and he goes, did you write that? And I said, yeah, I did. Or he goes, who wrote that? And I said, I did. And he goes, wait, you did? That was really good. And I'm like, oh, really? Crap, because it was supposed to be a joke. But I do enjoy playing that. I want to give a shout out to Pat Gavin for tuning in. My mother is tuning in. And thanks to her and my dad, I am not staying at a crappy microtel. I'm at a Holiday Inn in Coralville, Iowa. Just fun stuff. And I do have a couple of funny stories about that. But let's see who else. Like I said, my mom is tuning in. Joanna Day is tuning in, and Jess is tuning in as well. I appreciate all you guys for doing that. So I got checked into my hotel and all of that, and I asked the guy at the front desk if he had any good recommendations for food. And he goes, well, he says, there's an Olive Garden right down the street. And then listed off like a couple other, fast food chains. One of them was, it was a chain, but, relatively unique. And so I said, how about something local, like a locally owned one? And then he, pointed me in the direction of that. But the other funny story. So I check in, and I ask him, what do you have in the way of food recommendations? And his first response was, "Oh, you're not from here?" And I'm like, "Buddy, I'm staying at a hotel. Why would I, ask for recommendations or stay in a hotel if I were from here?" That just didn't make sense to me. But anyway, that's just all the more reason to play songs like Phil in the City. So that is that. Yeah, and Pat Gavin mentioned Tangled Up in Blue, and I do want to point out that Bob Dylan just released his 39th album today, Rough and Rowdy Ways, and I'm yet to get my hands on a copy of one, but I've been listening to a lot of Dylan lately, and that sounds funny, but I've heard a decent amount of his songs, but I've never listened to the albums, all together, and so that's a project that I've been working on, and really being a little bit more intentional about the Bob Dylan that I listen to. But so with that, I wrote a song today, and this one was inspired by Love Minus Zero over No Limit, and I hope you enjoy it. This is called Love Is Here to Stay, and enjoy it while you can, me playing a positive song. I dream of ever after, of sunshine and of laughters. I put it up in the rafters when a past love told me off. Yes, each car traverses, I think of chapters and verses, good things and of curses, in my new love and can be taught. You and I are so different, yet I've loved you in an instant. We've done well with the distance. I guess love truly is a choice, yet the one of your choosing, a love I can be losing. You make love, you make time between your snoozing, and I love to hear the sound of your voice. Now I know you can be trusted. My cynicism's almost been busted. I tried to rebuild and I've lost it, yet it all brought me your way. Now as I drive I-90, bad things are all behind me. Your beauty will forever blind me, and our love is here to stay. All right, and that was a pretty brand new song called Love Is Here to Stay. Wrote it at probably about 6:30 this morning before I left. But hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you enjoyed those positive songs, because let me tell you, I've got some not so positive ones here that we're going to do in just a second. So as I have stated, this is today marks Nick Drake's birthday, what would have been his 72nd birthday. Typically my dad gets a lot of the credit for my love of classic rock and singer-songwriter stuff, but my mom was actually the one who tipped me off to Nick Drake, and the first song I ever remember hearing by him was One of These Things First, which I'll play in a little bit. But then, I started getting really into him and got this compilation album that was the one that I got was Made to Love Magic. I tried so hard to write songs like Nick Drake, but just, couldn't for the life of me do it. And then after getting my heart broken one too many times, I thought, hey, this is the perfect opportunity to revisit Nick Drake. And so that's what turned into this album called Way to Blue, which is another compilation album of his, Way to Blue. That's where I got the name from, and wrote a different title track. But the first song was a song called If You've Always Welcomed Sadness. And a lot of the songs that are on this record kind of dive into first of all, my trauma with this, but this person's past trauma as well, and just kind of how that affected our relationship or lack of trust and all of that. And so this is a song called If You've Always Welcomed Sadness, and in just a second I am going to get this started. Sorry, I gotta plug up my phone here. I'm going from multiple angles here. But like I said, this is going to be If You've Always Welcomed Sadness, and it was actually inspired by a song called Toe the Line, and so I am going to do it as a medley with those two songs. So this is If You've Always Welcomed Sadness and Toe the Line. Now is the time that you sabotage, pretend it was good, then say it was a mirage. Misery loves company, but I won't participate. If you've always welcomed sadness, don't you dare force me to wait. This is about your past, can you feel it creeping in? After so much has ended, how do you begin? Though it just might be, you enjoy this sad state. If you've always welcomed sadness, don't you dare force me to wait. Tomorrow's the time for you to start afresh. That's easy for you when you refuse to clean your mess. It's easy when you don't give twice as much as you take. If you've always welcomed sadness, don't you dare force me to wait. If one day you're married, your husband's in for a treat. Hope he hasn't called any guy you once called sweet. He'll be forced to deal with the love that's forced, not innate. If you've always welcomed sadness, don't you dare force me to wait. And if you've always welcomed sadness, don't you dare force him to wait. This is the day. This is the day that we rise or we fall. This is the night that we win or lose it all. This is the time that we wait for a while. If you call, we'll follow. If you show us, we can do the line. Now that you're here, we can show me the way. Now that you're here, we can try to make it back. For a while you were gone, it was hard, it was cold. While you were gone, we were time, we were old. If you know, we'll follow. If you show us, we can toe the line. If you call, we'll follow. If you show us, we can toe the line. All right, and that was a combination of If You've Always Welcomed Sadness, and that was inspired by the song Toe the Line by Nick Drake. And so I decided to play both. But that was that. So this is the Way to Blue video series, and so it's only appropriate that I play a song called Way to Blue. I was trying to figure out how to play Nick Drake's song Way to Blue, and there's so much orchestration in there and just like some really crazy stuff. So I didn't want to go there. But I thought I'd write my own song Way to Blue, and that's where we are. So this is Way to Blue, and it's the title track. And I'm going to do it as a medley with the Nick Drake song Time of No Reply, which is what inspired it. So I hope you enjoy it. I told her I'd never do her wrong. Showed her I meant it and would be strong, but that's not the love she knows being true. She said, can you show me the way to blue? Held her in my arms by Guadalquivir, until I knew I had starved her fears. Love without leaving was something new. She said, can you show me the way to blue? That Memphis summer came and passed. In October, she stepped on the gas. She said, I've done some thinking and it ain't you. Can you show me the way to blue? I tried to be like the man in her life. She couldn't place why it didn't seem right. She said, this ain't the kind of thing that I'm used to. Can you show me the way to blue? Show me the way to blue. Not the bright skies, the dark ones I always knew. There's only one forever fitting hue. Can you show me the way to blue? Her wedding came, she was all dressed in lace. A big old smile on her boyfriend's face, but instead of hearing her say I do, he hears, can you show me the way to blue? Now it's a lifetime of sadness they're committed to, as she says, can you show me the way to blue? Summer was gone and the heat died down, and autumn reached for a golden crown. I looked behind as I heard the sigh. This is the time of no reply. The sun went down and the crowd went home. I was left by the roadside all alone. I turned to speak as they went by, but this is the time of no reply. Time of no reply is calling me to stay. There's no hello and no goodbye to leave. There is no way. The trees in the fall had nothing to say. They would keep their dreams until another day. So they stood and thought and wondered why. This was the time of no reply. Time goes by from year to year, and no one asks why I am standing here. But I have my answer as I look to the sky. This is the time of no reply. Time of no reply is calling me to stay. There's no hello and no goodbye. To leave, there is no way. Summer was gone as the heat died down, and autumn reached for a golden crown. I looked behind and I heard a sigh, but this was the time of no reply. This was the time of no reply. All right, and that was Time of No Reply, paired with my song Way to Blue, the title track off of my album that I am focusing on, that I'm spotlighting today. Today would have been Nick Drake's 72nd birthday. Just a fabulous, fabulous songwriter, singer-songwriter. And the really interesting thing about Nick Drake is that he never, in his lifetime, he never really got the public recognition that he deserved. But there were in his biography that his sister wrote. She talked about how he would go on stage with the Rolling Stones and they just couldn't believe how awesome he was. And there were multiple other groups like that as well. I want to give a shout out to my cousin Laura. She and her husband Rob are huge Nick Drake fans. And so I'm really happy that they were able to tune in to this. Miss Roy, my librarian in high school, my cousin Laura is a librarian actually too. But Miss Roy was the librarian at Cretan-Derham Hall where I went to high school, and Mr. Wysocki, I had him for creative communications, and he teaches video production and all of that too. So thank you. Brian Johnson is tuning in as well, and Quamiria, thank you so much for tuning in as well. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. So this next song, when my dad was going over my lyrics for copyright purposes a handful of years ago, he came across this one and he goes, "Oh, you were a little bit angry there." And I said, "Yeah, kind of." But this is a song called "Find Your Way to Misery." And it was inspired by the song Riverman by Nick Drake, which I'm going to play as well. And you guys can be the judge on this one too. But I am pretty confident that the song from Pocahontas, Just Around the River Bend, was low-key ripped off Riverman. So who knows? But just one of those things. So this is Find Your Way to Misery and Riverman, and I hope you enjoy both. Find your way to misery, that's right where you wanna be. Admit it now and I'll forgive you more. You just think that's where you'll land, you just think I'll understand, but it don't have to be like it's been before. Sunny days and crystal skies, all the things you're past and deny. You won't admit it and you push it away, so you find your way to misery. Hope that's where you'll be. Now you'll see that's where you deserve to stay. Carrot on a stick of gold, you couldn't have either, you were told. So you push away the only thing you know. Find your way to misery. Tell yourself that's what you need. What a crappy life, thanks to your chances blown. Betty came by on her way, said she had a word to say about the things today in fallen leaves. Said she hadn't heard the news, hadn't had the time to choose a way to lose, but she believes. Gonna see the riverman, gonna tell him all I can about the plan for lilac time. If he tells me all he knows about the way the river flows and all the night it shows in summertime. Betty said she prayed today for the sky to blow away, or maybe stay, she wasn't sure. For when she thought of summer rain calling for her mind again, she lost the pain and stayed for more. Gonna see the riverman, gonna tell him all I can about the plan on being free. If he tells me all he knows about the way his river flows, I don't believe it's meant for me. Oh, how they come and go. Oh, how they come and go. that was Riverman, paired with my song "Find Your Way to Misery." The second one was the Nick Drake song "Riverman," and first one was my own. We are celebrating Nick Drake's 72nd birthday, even though he's no longer with us. He had such good music. That's definitely worth celebrating. So thank you guys for tuning in. My friend Wes is tuning in, and that's awesome. He and Jesse Dalton are part of I should say, the Rusty Pieces. And they do shows every Thursday night at 7 o'clock. So go check them out. The Rusty Pieces. They've got a great style. And always good to see Wes as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah. So this next song is a song called "How Could You Know Happiness," and just I won't dive into too many details. Here, but essentially, the person that this album is about had her dad cheated on her mom, and then her stepdad did the same thing, and so that's pretty scarring, I would imagine. And it was one of those things where things were going really well, and then just out of nowhere, it ended. And and so this album really dives into that psychological trauma of well, it's good, but maybe that's not a good thing. Maybe it'll turn bad or something, and so you kind of sabotage it before you can even really feel the full extent of the happiness. So that's just one of those things. So anyway, this is a song called "How Could You Know Happiness," and it was inspired by "Hanging on a Star," the Nick Drake song. So I'm gonna do that one as well. How could you know happiness if you've only been in pain? How could you think it wasn't the end, that it'll always turn out the same? Yeah, I know just how you feel, but you won't admit that's why. You just tell me I'm not the one, say you will find another guy. How could you know happiness with a man who treats you right? How could you string me along? Tell me, how do you sleep at night? It's one thing if you admit just how wrong you've been, but self-sabotage is another ballgame, and it's one you can't win. How could you know happiness if you're only wanting more? On your wedding day, you'll be with the man who just adores all you do and all that you are. He'll love you even through all of your scars. Even on your wedding day, you'll ask, is that all there is? Even on your wedding day, I'll question, how can you know happiness? Why leave me hanging on a star when you deem me so high? When you deem me so high, when you deem me so high, and why leave me sailing in a sea when you hear me so clear? When you hear me so clear, when you hear me so clear, and why leave me hanging on a star when you deem me so high? When you deem me so high, when you deem me so high. All right, and that was How Could You Know Happiness, paired with Hanging on a Star. Shout outs, couple more shout outs here. My friend Pamela is watching. Thank you so much. Pamela, you tune in pretty much every week, which is just awesome. I appreciate the support. And Brittany, thank you so much for tuning in as well. I hope all is well with both of you guys back in Memphis. I'm going to take a slight intermission here and reconfigure some stuff so I can plug up my laptop. But give me just 1 second and I will do exactly that. All right, and we are back. I don't know why I didn't just do that in the first place. I think I just wanted a backrest. But we are in business here. So let's see what we got next here in terms of the set list. Actually, I know what we have. We have a song called Voices, and that is going to be the next one. Now, this one was inspired by, you guessed it, a Nick Drake song, and this one was actually inspired by a song of his called Voices as well. But I took it to the level of, because part of, and I kind of mentioned this when she said, love is a choice. And I feel like if I were going to love you, it would have happened by now. Those were actually her, or at least the first part was, those were Dad's words kind of echoing in her head. And so this is a song called Voices. And like I said, I'm going to do it as a medley with the Nick Drake song Voices as well. Cut off our talking, thought you heard a voice, one telling you that love is a choice. It's the voice of your cheating dad. You're following though you know the advice is bad. He says leave him now while the getting is cheap. Leave him now all alone to sleep. Leave him now, he will get over it soon. Trust me, I have at one time been in your shoes. You hear a voice somewhere deep in your head, telling you to get someone else to love you instead. That voice becomes your truth before too long. Soon enough you really wanted me gone. Soon enough you really wanted me gone. Voice telling you as you're 100 years old, maybe you shouldn't have been so damn cold. Now you're all alone in your old age, 'cause you took advice that was far from sage. You could not critically think, so you went with it, and that's when life started to sink. The voice of your life is asking, what have you done? The voice of your life is asking, what have you done? Voice from the mountain and voice from the sea, voice in my neighborhood and a voice calling me. Tell me, my friend, tell me with love, when it ended, and voice from above. The sound on an ocean wave, and sound in a tree, sound in a country lane, say, can you be free? Tell me, my crowd, tell me again. Tell me out loud, this sound is rain. Tune from the hillside and tune from the night. A flute in the morning and a chime at night. Yeah, I know the game again, I know the score. I know my name, but this tune is more. Voice from the mountain and voice from the sea, voice in my neighborhood and voice calling me. Tell me, my friend, tell me, my love, where will it end it? And voice from above. All right, and that was Voices by both myself and Nick Drake. My song was the first one, and then his was the second one, both of them called Voices. A couple more shout-outs to Mika Ivy. Thank you so much for tuning in. And Blair Pierce, thank you so much. Blair is a great supporter of local music. and a great musician himself, and just an overall great guy. And Tamika Ivy goes to my church and is a fabulous human being as well. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is the Way to Blue live stream, a birthday tribute to Nick Drake, who would have turned 72 years old today. And so we're celebrating with his music. If you do like what you hear and you were in a financial position to do so, you can feel free to donate, to tip. I've got my Venmo and Cash App above there. But as always, this is a free show, so do not worry about it if you can't tip, or if you don't want to. That is that. Shout out to my friend Sydney. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you and all you've done to speak out on behalf of Black Lives Matter and everything that's going on with the police brutality and all of that. That's awesome. And by no means are you obligated to do that as a musician, but I appreciate anybody who uses their platform to do that. And speaking of doing that, we've also got Richard Wilson. Richard does gospel blues, I believe is how he refers to it, and that is every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock from 8 to 8:30, live from the record room. I believe is what that's called. And Richard, you can feel free to comment if I got any of that info wrong. But he's a great musician from England, actually. So we're happy to have him in Memphis. But we're going to continue with this Nick Drake tribute. And this is live from the writing room. Thank you. I knew I had that wrong as soon as it came out of my mouth. So thank you, Richard, for that. Live from the writing room every Wednesday at 8 o'clock. And he goes till about 8:30. So yeah, be sure to check him out. He's got some great tunes and then some great music trivia as well. And so, once you get your fill of music trivia from me, you can go to Richard and get some more, which is great. Okay, so this next song was borrowed. The title was borrowed from Nick Drake's final studio album, which is called Pink Moon. And I was listening to it the other day. And it's really kind of interesting how there are some actually cheery songs on there, which I'm not used to from a Nick Drake record. So it, makes it all the more sad that he passed away. It was a drug overdose in 1974. But just a really talented guy, very introverted, and not that much of a stage presence necessarily. But man, his stuff was really good. And later I'll talk about how you don't have to take my word for it, because there are some other artists that I'm going to be talking about. But this is Pink Moon, and this one was inspired by, actually let me double check here and see what it was inspired by, because that, and hang on. So this was inspired by the Nick Drake song 3 Hours, which I'm going to play as well. And we're gonna do that. So this is Pink Moon, and basically what inspired this song, in addition to the song 3 Hours, is that Pink Moon is relatively rare. Seeing that in the sky. And so the idea is, if she always saw it coming, if she always saw that rare thing of, of breaking it off, or, this isn't going to work. Did she always see that coming? Even though, the normal person never would have, because things were so good. But this is Pink Moon and 3 Hours, and I hope you enjoy it. The moon is so beautiful and pink in the sky. If you're gonna speak, well, now is the time. It always rises to start anew. Did you always know of the dawning of the pink moon? It's the equinox, the longest day of the year. A time for rebirth is almost here. A time to start a new chapter as autumn flowers bloom. Did you always know of the dawning of the pink moon? Today you told me you and gone as were we. Nothing I could say could ever get you to leave. I never predicted this impending doom. Did you always know of the dawning of the pink moon? Guess this is another of your mysterious ways. There's nothing more that I can do or say. Yes, you finally found your way to blue. Did you always know of the dawning of the pink moon? Did you always know of the dawning of the pink moon? 3 hours from sundown, Jeremy flies, hoping to keep the sun from his eyes. He's from the city and down to the cave, in search of a master, in search of a slave. 3 hours from London, Giacomo's free, taking his woes down to the sea, in search of a lifetime to tell when he's home, in search of a story that's never been known. 3 hours from speaking, everyone's flown, not wanting to be seen out on their own. 3 hours is needed to leave from them all. 3 hours to wander and 3 hours to fall. 3 hours from sundown, Jeremy flies, hoping to keep the sun from his eyes. East of the city and down to the cave, in search of a master, in search of a slave. All right, and that was Pink Moon. Again, Nick Drake's last album was called Pink Moon, so that's what inspired that title. And then 3 Hours is what inspired it, that particular song. So what do we got next here? All right, cool. So we've got Tree of Fruit. No, we already did that one, actually, a long time ago. Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, cool. So what I'm going to do, because I accidentally mixed up a few of them. So How Could You Know Happiness was actually inspired by Thoughts of Mary Jane, and so I'm gonna play that one really quick, and then I'm gonna play play Tree of Fruit. And so I hope you enjoy that. Got that coming up for you in just a second here. You know the thoughts of Mary Jane, while she flies or goes out in the rain, where she's been and who she's seen in the journey to the stars. Who can know the reasons for a smile? What are the dreams when they've journeyed for a mile? The way she sings and the brightly colored wings make her the princess of the sky. Who can know the thoughts of Mary Jane? What happens in her mind? Did she come from a strange world and leave her mind behind? Along the sides of brightly colored eyes, and a story to the wind. Who can know the thoughts of Mary Jane, while she flies or goes out in the rain, where she's been and who she's seen in a journey to the stars. All right, and that was Thoughts of Mary Jane by Nick Drake, who we are celebrating today. Today would have been his 72nd birthday. Apparently I hadn't been glancing at YouTube quite enough, but one of my former students, Lauren, just joined in on YouTube or commented a little bit ago. Thank you, Lauren, for that. I appreciate you listening, especially since most of the people at that school just hazed me on my YouTube page, so I appreciate getting some love from that demographic. Yeah, so I don't know if this is an official request and it's a little bit off the books, but I'm going to play it anyway because Pat Gavin requested it. This is New Songs, and I hope you enjoy it. I asked them, what do you think? They said it really stinks. This isn't gonna get on the radio. I said, you don't know what you're missing, bro. Putting on this junk would be just wrong. You gotta get yourself some new songs. If you wanna help your career, you better get your butt in gear. New songs, I need some new songs. Even if it takes all night, I'm gonna write some new songs. Wow, that really hurt. but I still hope that this works. I thought my record deal would be like that, I'd be playing at the next Woodstock, but I lost it all really quick, 'cause no one liked my music. They told me no as I walked through the door, and when I started playing, they said, don't play no more new songs. I need some new songs. Even if it takes all night, I'm gonna write some new songs. New songs, I need some new songs. Even if it takes all night, I'm gonna write some new songs. I thought my career was going nowhere fast. They slammed doors in my face, how long can this last? My friends didn't believe me, but now it's a fact. I can show them my big fat recording contract. Yes, I wrote some new songs. My record deal's here and I proved them wrong. Now I'm at Beverly Hills where I belong, and it's all thanks to my new songs. I'm living the life of a superstar. Traded in my mail for a cooler car. They gave me that record deal. Now I'm not eating any more Happy Meals. New songs, I wrote some new songs. Even though it took all night, I'm glad I wrote some new songs. New songs, I wrote some new songs. Even though it took all night, I'm glad I wrote some new songs. I'm glad I wrote some new songs. Glad I wrote some new songs. All right, and that was New Songs, special request for my friend Pat Gavin. I appreciate you for that. And be sure to stay tuned for the very special 10-year anniversary live stream of Pass the Mic, which is coming up in September. So that's going to be great. So helps if I have my set list out in front of me. So that's exactly what we're going to do. So we're going to play Tree of Fruit, and that is that. Now, as you may have picked up on, a lot of these songs were inspired by Nick Drake albums. Way to Blue, that was one of his compilations after he passed, and Fruit Tree was another one of them. And so that's where I got the idea for Tree of Fruit from. And plus, I just really like the imagery of a tree dying, and not being able to be resurrected. In general, I don't really like that per se, but for song purposes, it's good. But this is Tree of Fruit, and I hope you enjoy it. Tree of fruit is only good till there's no leaves left on the wood. Then it fades to winter time. Makes me long for spring and all the season's gonna bring. But even then, you won't be mine. Tree of fruit is good as gold until the winter turns to cold, and there's nothing that comes from the bark. It dies in winter 'cause it thinks it will find something else to drink, but then she finds she can't restart. tree of fruit gets transferred out to someone just a bit more south. They plant their roots in Fayetteville. Tree of oranges and with many an olive branch once grew, fruitful in Seville. Now they die with us as the winter blows the whippoorwills. All right, and that was Tree of Fruit. Like I said, that one was initially inspired by Hanging on a Star. But I played that one earlier, not having looked at my set list. So yeah, that was one of those things. And then How Could You Know Happiness was inspired by Thoughts of Mary Jane. But either way, I'm getting all of this Nick Drake played, so that is totally fine. So next I'm gonna play a song called Until the Roof Collapsed, and this one was actually, I mean, all of these songs, I need to point out, all of these songs were inspired by Nick Drake songs. But this one, the title, I actually got from my friend Amber, because she was actually living in Nashville for a while. And you know, she was telling me some story at some point, and she said, you know, she said everything was just fine until the roof collapsed. And so I thought, ooh, that's a really good song title. Was Until the Roof Collapsed. And so you know, I took it, I wrote it, and it was inspired by One of These Things First, which, like I said, was the first first Nick Drake song that I ever heard. And so I'm going to play both of them back to back. And so this is going to be Until the Roof Collapsed and One of These Things First. Things were just fine until the roof collapsed, held together by a steady apse. Now you don't love me and we'll never get back. We were just fine until the roof collapsed. I'm buried in rubble after the caving in. When did we start to fall? When did it all begin? Things were just fine until the roof collapsed. How do you get over something like that? We were just fine until the roof collapsed. You said your love for me was a thing of the past. Find your way to blue, though I thought we had the knack. We were just fine until until the roof collapsed. We were just fine until the roof collapsed. Could have been a sailor, could have been a cook. A real life lover, could have been a book. Could have been a signpost, could have been a clock. As simple as a kettle, steady as a rock. I could be here and now. I would be, I should be, but how? I could have been one of these things first. I could have been your miller, could have been your door. I could have stayed beside you, could have begged for more. I could have been your statue, could have been your friend. A whole long lifetime could have been the end. I could be, you're so true. I would be, I should be, through and through. I could have been one of these things first. I could have been a whistle, could have been a flute. A real life river, could have been a boot. I could have been a signpost, could have been a clock. As simple as a kettle, steady as a rock. I could be oh so near. I could be even near. I could be one of these things first. I could have been one of these things first. All right, and that was Until the Roof Collapsed, paired with One of These Things First, the Nick Drake song, and actually the first Nick Drake song that I ever heard. I know my friend Pat was listening at least at one point, and when I first heard One of These Things First, it reminded me of Dave Matthews. Actually, just the vocal delivery reminded me of Dave Matthews. but then I, learned all about Nick Drake and all of that. And so that is that. All right. So we've got next up, we've got In Your Head, and that is going to be paired with the song that inspired it, which is Clothes of Sand. So give me 1 second here. All right. So this is In Your Head and Clothes of Sand. Oh, what is left of you, the girl I once knew? Why couldn't we see this through? I think it's all in your head. You can be happy without suspect, though those claims you deflect. What we had is now wrecked, thanks to what's in your head. You can admit you're happy, you can admit that's fine, you can admit that you were meant to be mine. It's all in your head, the things that make me so mad. It's all in your head that you have doing upset. We once had it all in Memphis, Tennessee. Then something tore you apart from me. Now nothing I can say or do can fix us from where we are. You were so beautiful, now you're the reason for my scars. It's all in your head and it won't end out. You say somehow it got worse when I moved south. It's all in your head and will be all your days. You sabotage what's good and deserve whatever comes your way. You can admit you're happy, you can admit that's fine. You can admit that you were meant to be mine. It's all in your head that things have to be so bad. It's all in your head that you have to wake up sad. Who has dressed you in strange clothes of sand? Who has taken you far from my land? Who has said that my sayings were wrong? And who will say that I stayed much too long? Clothes of sand have covered your face, giving you meaning but taking my place. So make your way on down to the sea. Something has taken you so far from me. Does it now seem worth all the colors of the skies to see the dark through the painted eyes? To look through the panes of shaded glass, to see the stains of the winter's grass. Can you now return to from where you came, to try to burn your changing name? Oh, with the silver spoons of colored light, Will you worship moons on this winter's night? Glows of sand covered your face, giving you meaning but digging my place. So make your way on down to the sea. Something has taken you so far from me. All right, and that was In Your Head and Clothes of Sand. So, I've got one more on my particular album, and am going to pair it with a song called Mayfair, which is what inspired it. This is actually the only cheerful song on the album, but this is Our Fall. And I do want to point out, and I think I mentioned this last week when I was doing Love as a Choice, that one of the things that, in addition to the trauma that, probably played into this eventual rejection, this person got accepted into a program. I think it was teaching English abroad in Costa Rica, which is something she had wanted to do for a really long time. And, I was really, really happy. Happy for her. But one of the things that we talked about was potentially doing that together in Puerto Rico. And, and so it was one of those things where, I was very, very happy, but, saddened that she kind of left me out of that conversation. So that's part of what's referenced in this song. This is a song called Our Fall, which has a double meaning because she rejected me on October 5th. So this is Our Fall, and I hope you enjoy it. Got into something overseas, got the bug to travel, got the itch to leave. When Costa Rica began to call, that was the beginning of our fall. You told me so late in the game, tongued you down when you were scared in Spain. Would have been so happy for you, but you left me for it all. That was the beginning of our fall. You only needed me when your confidence was done. Then when you brought it up on your own, you decided you didn't need me around. And now life without you is great at worst. I finally decided to put myself first. You're just a brick inside my wall. Now I am over our fall. Now I am over our fall. Mayfair strange in the morning light, Mayfair strange in the summer night, Mayfair strangest in the afternoon, Mayfair strange. Mayfair stretching far above, full of fame but lacking love. Couldn't be we see the Mayfair moon. Mayfair strange across the park, in a day or in the dark. There are no need to walk or run. Mayfair faces clean and nice, but beauty here as cold as ice. Couldn't be we see the Mayfair sun. Mayfair strange at every hour, hidden frowns with mystic power, starry eyes and golden throne. down below you're on your own. Mayfair's strange for passers-by, sights of wonder for the eye. Couldn't be there, pass by again. Mayfair nothing far and near, for even trees are wealthy here. Couldn't be with Mayfair rain. Couldn't be with Mayfair rain. All right. Thank you so much. That was our fall and Mayfair. And thank you to Daniel for tuning in as well. I appreciate you. My Uncle Rob tuned in earlier on Facebook. I wanted to give him a shout out, but kept on forgetting. So thank you for tuning in there. But yeah. And by the way, I just want to say I'm gonna, give a slight call to action at the end to say go listen to some Nick Drake. But I have a feeling that some of you might have tuned in because you already love Nick Drake, and if that's the case, I really appreciate you. And if you tuned in just for me, then that's even better. I just know the odds of that are a little bit slim, although you guys are great, so wouldn't put it past you. But I mentioned that that last song, Our Fall, was positive. It wasn't really. It was just a song of redemption. But Mayfair was definitely positive, and it's one of just a few positive songs that Nick Drake released in his lifetime, or even after that. But this next one is a song called Things Behind the Sun, and this is a rather positive one, and this is off of Pink Moon, so I hope you enjoy it. Please be aware of them that stare their lonely smile to see you while your time away. And once you've seen where they've been doing the earth, they won't seem worth your night or day. Who will hear what I say? Look around, you'll find the ground. It's not so far from where you are, but don't be too wise. For down below they'll never grow. They're always tired, their charms are hide from out of their eyes. Never surprised. Take your time and you'll be fine, and say a prayer for people there who live up on the floor. And if you see what's meant to be, don't name the day or try to say it happened before. Don't be shy, you'll learn to fly and see the sun when day is done. If only you will see that what you are beneath a star that came to stay one rainy day in autumn for free. Yes, that is what you'll be. Please be aware of them who stare their lonely smile to see you while your time away. And once you've seen what they've been with to the earth, they just don't seem worth your night or day. Open up the broken cup, let goodly sin and sunshine in, yes, that's today. And open wide your hymns you hide, you'll find renown while people frown at things that you'll say. But say what you'll say about the farmers and the fun and all the the things behind the sun and people around your head who say everything that's been said in the movement in your brain sends you out into the rain. All right, and that was Things Behind the Sun by Nick Drake. So that is that. I've got one more Nick Drake song for you, and one more song just in general. And so I'm gonna pull that up in just a second, though. This next one is a song that's called Life in a Northern Town. And it is, this is kind of to the portion of the program where I promised you that you didn't have to take my word for it, that, Nick Drake was such a good singer and songwriter and all of that. Because in 1985, that was the year, and in that particular year, the Dream Academy released this song, Life in a Northern Town. And this would have been 11 years after Nick Drake's passing. And there was just this kind of renaissance of popularity within his music. And so that, happened in the 80s. People just started discovering Nick Drake. And so this was the product of that rediscovery. And this is a song called Life in a Northern Town. It's by the Dream Academy, but there's also a really solid cover of it. Let's see, it's Little Big Town, Jake Owen, and Sugarland doing it together, and it's fabulous. So check out both of those versions. But I heard the song first and knew that it was about Nick Drake, but didn't know who Nick Drake was. And then I discovered Nick Drake, and and so this is kind of one of those moment in time songs, a time capsule. And so this is Life in a Northern Town. The Salvation Army band played, and the children drank lemonade, as the morning lasted all day, all day. And through an open window came, like Sinatra in a younger day, pushing the town away, away. Hey, my, it didn't die, and hey, my, hey, yeah. Life in a northern town, hey, my. They sat on the stormy ground, and he took a cigarette out, and everyone came down to listen. It was the winter 1963. It felt like the whole world would freeze, with John F. Kennedy and the Beatles. Hey, my, it didn't die, and hey, my, hey, yeah. Life in a northern town, hey, my, it didn't die, hey, my, hey, yeah. All the work shut down. In the evening it turned to rain, washed the water all down the drain, as we followed him down to the station. And though he would never wave goodbye, you could see it written in his eyes as the train pulled out of sight. Bye bye. Hey, my, it didn't die. And hey, my, hey, yeah. Live in a northern town. Hey, my, it didn't die. And hey, my, hey, yeah. Live in a northern town. Hey, my, take it easy on yourself. Hey, yeah. Life in a northern town. All right, and that was Life in a Northern Town by the Dream Academy. And like I said, check out that version. Check out Little Big Town's version with Sugarland and Jake Owen. Just really, really good layered harmonies, but layered vocals too. Even when they're singing separately, it just everything just comes in so perfectly. So that was that. But I just have one more for you guys. This is a little bit of a shorter live stream than normal, but I'm sure that's okay with all of y'all. And so this is a song. This is a song called "Which Will," and it was actually off of Pink Moon, and so that is one of those that off of his last record kind of got forgotten until 1992 when Lucinda Williams covered it. And she she covered it on her 1992 album. I can't remember the name of the record, but that kind of gave it another rise in popularity. So there again, Nick Drake's influence living on. But this is Which Will, and I hope you enjoy it. Which will you go for? Which will you love? Which will you choose from the stars above? Which will you answer? Which will you call? Which will you take for your one and all? And tell me now, which one will you love the best? Which do you dance for? Which makes you shine? Which will you choose if you won't choose mine? Which will you hope for? Which can it be? Which will you take now if you don't take me? And tell me now, which will you love the best? All right, and that was Which Will by Nick Drake. Again, happy birthday to him. I wish he was still with us. But he's got a ton of really great music off of his 3 studio albums and then those compilations as well. So please be sure to check that out. I'm Minnesota Mike. Next live stream is going to be, I believe, a week from today. We're going to be doing Can't Start a Fire and celebrating that album. So be sure to tune in then. Thank you so much.